Good afternoon, and the warmest of welcomes to this afternoon's iOB business webinar. It's a pleasure to have you on here. My name is Ben, and I'm the resident business coach here at iOB Business. Now, just one or two things before we get kicked off for today's session. If you've been with us on one of these webinars before, you'll be more than familiar with how they run. But if this is your first time joining us, it's great just to give you a little bit of information before we get kicked off for today. Okay, so once again, my name is Ben, and I do a brief introduction with you before we get kicked off for the webinar. And then we're going to dive into the presentation itself. That's going to run for around about 15 to 20 minutes or so. And then after that, we're going to do a brief Q&A segment. So it's important to know that if you do have any questions throughout today's session, you're more than welcome to ask any questions. Pop them in the Q&A box at the bottom of the screen there, and we'll grab them for you at the end during the Q&A session. Now, in between each of the three topics today, we'll also give you more than enough time to jot down these questions, fire them away into us, and also just grab a moment to jot down any notes you may wish to take as well. Okay, so we're just giving everybody a minute or two to join us, making sure everybody's on here. Welcome to those of you that are joining us now. Pleasure to have you on here. Awesome. Hello to you. Great to have you guys on here. So once again, just doing a very brief introduction, giving it a minute or two until everybody gets on. So what we're going to do now is switch off the video camera. So you shouldn't be able to see me anymore, but you should still be able to hear my voice. And we've got the presentation up on screen. So right before we get kicked off with today's session, if you could do me a big favor and just let me know that you can hear my voice okay, and that you can see the presentation up on screen okay there as well. Fabulous. Okay, looks like we're ready to rock. So once again, if you have any questions, anything you want to ask, please don't hesitate. Pop it in the Q&A box at the bottom of your screen there, and I will grab it for you at the end of today's presentation during the Q&A segment. Okay, so today's conversation is all about the best time to start a digital marketing agency. All right, now we're going to cover three topics as we always do, beginning with myself and my presentation. I'll give you a little bit about who I am, and then I'll dive into the three topics. Okay, so my name is Ben, and I am a business coach. I specialize in working with small businesses and helping them achieve stability and growth. Okay, so it's a real passion, a real enjoyment for me to be on here presenting these webinars with you today, and I hope that you enjoy this afternoon's presentation as much as I do. Okay, so discussion points, one of three. Number one, the best time is now. So we're talking today specifically about the best time to start a digital marketing agency. I'm going to tell you why, and I'm going to tell you when in the next segment. Number two, the digital market is always dynamic. It's an extremely important thing to understand if digital marketing is something that you're looking at getting into, like so many of us on here today are. And finally, the rest is down to you. Okay, so beginning with topic number one, the best time is now. Okay, now right before we get kicked off, any issues, any problems, not that we ever have them, but do feel free to jot them into the chat box, and we'll do our best to help you with any technical hiccups if you do experience them today. But as far as we know so far, we're all clear on the audio and all clear on the video, which is awesome. And we can get kicked off. So point number one, the best time is now. A common misconception is that now isn't a good time, okay? Now, if I take you for just a moment to think about your personal life, think about your business life, think about your professional career so far, was there ever a time where you said to yourself, bingo, now is the perfect time to do anything? Doesn't matter what it is, take a holiday, take a break. Make a big decision, make a change in your house, make a change in your accommodation, buy a new car, make a new investment, make a new career decision. Did it ever feel like now was a good time? Or did somebody tell you there's never the perfect time, just get it done? Okay, so it's such a common misconception that now isn't a good time. Now, there are literal reasons behind this as well when it comes to the digital agency field, which I'll run you through throughout the rest of this webinar today. But one thing I want to get us into the way of thinking right before we get kicked off with today's session is that a common misconception, a really, really big common misconception, is that now isn't a good time. How many times have you said that to yourself? How many times have you decided not to do something? You've decided not to make that change because now just it isn't a good time. So then you delay it and you delay it and you delay it. You say, well, in 1 year maybe, or maybe in 5 years. Hey, maybe in 10 years. Maybe when the kids have grown up. Maybe when we've got a bigger house. Maybe when we live somewhere else, maybe when I'm earning this much money, maybe when I'm doing this, maybe when I'm doing that, okay? Now, The theory of now isn't a good time is almost always true in some capacity. There may be literal reasons why literally right this second isn't a good time. There might be a slight restriction on you somewhere, somehow, some why. Okay, which, fair enough. But for the most part, a lot of us let silly reasons get in the way of us doing something. And often this could come down to, let's say, fear of the unknown. We don't know what to expect. We haven't done it before. We're tentative about doing it, and understandably so. But life, in many ways, is all about risks. Okay. Now, as the saying goes, there is no time like the present. So many individuals, professionals, businesses that I know and work with directly have this go-getter mentality. They decide that they are going to do something, they review it, they analyze it, they make the correct decisions around it, and then they get it done if appropriate. Okay, so there is a theory that not every idea is a good one, and I stand by this. Okay, ideas need to be reviewed and analyzed to consider the fact, okay, pros, cons, is it going to work? Is it viable? What can we see happening in the foreseeable future? All these different things. Now, if you make the decision, this is a good idea. Why? Because I reviewed it, I've analyzed it, and I know that it's going to work. Or best case, I've forecasted that it should work very well. If that's the case, why hang around? Because even after you've done this review, even if after you've done this analysis, you could spend hours, days, maybe even weeks making this decision and kind of milling this idea through your head. But even at that, there's something just not letting you get it done. There's always something else to do that day. There's always something more important to think about. There's always a little bit too risky. You don't know if it's going to work. It's fear of the unknown. Ultimately, this procrastination comes from fear of the unknown. I don't know what the result of that thing is going to be. Can I embarrass myself? Am I going to make a mistake? Is it something I'm going to regret down the line? You decide not to do things. Now, something I also want you to think about is if there's a decision that you've made in the past that you're not particularly happy about, business-wise, or as long as it hasn't been catastrophic, don't look back on these too negatively. Okay, look back on them and think, okay, well, at the time that was probably a good idea. If I reviewed it, analyzed it, and forecasted that it was going to work for good reason. Don't look back and be embarrassed, because in business, almost all of the decisions that anybody has made has led them to where they are now. If you're a concise, clear thinker now, maybe that's because you have done trial and error and experimentation in the past. There could be many reasons as to why these things have come together. So don't be embarrassed about things that went wrong in the past. Thank yourself for doing them for the most part. Okay, so you must believe in yourself that you're ready to make something happen at this given point in time. Otherwise, your venture is going to struggle. Okay, so speaking specifically about opening a business, speaking specifically about opening a digital agency, you have to be the one who is certain that you are ready to make this happen. You have to look in the mirror and tell yourself, I'm going to do this and I'm going to do this well, because it does take commitment and it does take time and it does take effort. And if you're not willing to deliver these three things, then you might find yourself struggling, but not because the concept of the business model doesn't work, because that's proven many, many times over with many, many different people. The theory is if you don't commit time, effort, energy, education to your own success, nobody else is going to do it for you. So this isn't an inspirational segment. This is a very, very truthful theoretical reality that if you decide not to give it any effort, it's not going to work. And where does the first step of effort come in? Well, you're not going to give any effort to anything if you don't believe in yourself. You have to understand the character that you carry, who you think you are, how you behave, how you want to act. And if you believe these things, you believe in yourself that you're ready to make something happen, there's a very, very good chance that you go ahead and you will make something happen. Okay, so the person who creates the best time is you. So if literally right this second isn't ideal because let's say, you've just made another commitment or you've thought about something different or whatever. Okay, so maybe it's next week, maybe it's next month, but you set that time and date in the calendar and you get it done when you said you were going to get it done. Okay, everybody gets sick, everybody gets tired, everybody feels like doing nothing sometimes. But we can't let that take over our lives, because before you know it, a day's going to go by, a week's going to go by, a month, a year, a decade. Time will pass and you will still be in the same position if you choose not to act. Okay, now the choice is yours. And there is absolutely no judgment on whichever choice you make. The only judgment comes from ourselves, and we say, well, I wish I'd have done this 10 years ago. I wish I'd have done this 5 years ago. And often it's almost cliche that one of the things you hear a lot when people reach some level of success, they say, I wish I'd have done this 10 years ago. I wish I'd have known what you know. I wish I'd have known this 10 years ago, 5 years ago, whatever. Okay. The right time is now. The best time is now to get it done. If you wait and wait and wait and wait, you may then be envious of others who decided to do it. And we think to ourselves, for 1 year, 3 years, 5 years, 10 years, that's so long away. And then because it's so far away, you say it's a 10-year plan, because it's so far away, we think we've got loads of time. We don't do anything daily. We don't do anything weekly, monthly. We don't track ourselves. We don't track our objectives. We don't check our ambition. We don't see where we're going. We just continue doing the same thing day in, day out. If we keep everything the same, nothing changes. So 10 years will go by and we'll say, oh, well, hey, why didn't we get that? Okay. 10 years away, people, they say, oh, that's so far away. I might as well just do nothing. I don't even want to get started because you know what? That's so far away. It's going to take forever to get there. I just don't want to do it. Well, if that's the case, that 10 years is going to go by and nothing's going to change. Okay. So food for thought. Now that brings us to the end of topic number 1. I'd like to give you a brief moment now to go ahead, jot down any questions that you have for me. Please fire them into the question box, and any notes that you may want to take as well. Please do go ahead and feel free to do that as well. I'll see you very shortly. Hello and welcome back for topic number 2. Okay, so number 2, the digital market is always dynamic. And this is something that we can talk about. We've said, when is the best time to start a digital agency? We're going to talk about that now in a very, very specific manner. So each day, week and month, the digital market has something new to offer its occupants. Okay, it's a very dynamic, very evolving market. Something is happening all of the time. If we subscribe to digital marketing newsletters, we join webinars, we look on Google, we look on social media, we always see things happening. Okay. Big tech companies rolling out this new development. There's a new algorithm. There's a new way of advertising. There's a new way of doing something. So could you, perchance, think about what the next thing is coming? And could you jump on that? Or could you decide not to reinvent the wheel and go with the blueprints that already work, that are already successful? Follow the paths of many digital agencies before you that have made a success of themselves, okay? Now, I don't know about you, but me on a personal level, more or less when Facebook came out, I wasn't sure what else could happen with social media. Then we got Instagram. Then we got Twitter. I don't know if that came out before or after Facebook. Now we have TikTok, okay? I don't know, but there'll probably be another one. Okay, stuff is evolving all of the time. There's always new phones, there's always new tech, there's always new things going on. In the digital marketing sphere, the world that digital marketing exists in, exists online. And one of the biggest and quickest things to change all of the time is stuff that happens online. It's a very, very, very evolving market, and it evolves all the time. So for this exact reason, there's always going to be one reason or another why now is the perfect time to get into digital marketing. There's always going to be a reason to do it. And there's always going to be a reason not to do it. And that's completely up to you. That's completely up to you in terms of whether you decide to make a decision to go for something or whether you decide not to. No, but like I said earlier, nobody's going to do that for you. And also nobody else is going to do the research for you. Okay. Now here's a kind of side tip. Okay. Something I like to implement. It's not, certainly not in my belief, physically possible to know everything about everything that's going on all of the time. So what I like to do is join webinars, follow experts, allow them to study and compress the information in an easy to understand way for me. So I can pick up the bite-sized chunks of, this is what's been happening lately. Here's all you need to know, okay? So you don't need to have your ear to the wall on every single item that's happening across the entire digital marketing space. You just need the highlights, okay? So be mindful of this and give yourself at least that little bit of time to stay in the loop with what's happening all the time, because this could help you make major decisions. Now, you must work hard to highlight the active areas of the market that you can engage with right now. Okay, so the best way that you can do this, and of course, it does take hard work to launch a new business, okay, in any new business. Now, the crucial part that you must work hard at is establishing these active areas that we're calling them, okay? And these active areas I'm referring to is services that are selling right now. If you want to start a business, it makes total sense to go and start offering a service that is selling right now. You've got paid advertising, you've got website development, you've got social media management, and more and more and more. Okay, all of these services are being utilized on the internet by clients and businesses right now. So you have to highlight these active areas, establish which one you would like to go into and why, or multiple items you would like to go into and why. You pick out these areas of the market that you can engage with right now, and then you have an even greater understanding of how and where you wish to start your business. You have the ability to go with something that's already working, or you can bring a new solution to the market. It's not uncommon for digital marketing agencies to think of something new, to think of a new way to advertise or a new service to offer their clients, or even a new form or variant of the same service being offered in a different way. Okay, so there are very, very unique ways and unique strategies in which these new businesses put themselves together and decide to go into the market with. That's completely up to you. So we discussed earlier, you can reinvent the wheel with something new. You can pick out a new service or a new service offering that's hit the table because a new tech company has brought it out, or you can decide to go with something that's already working. Paid advertising has been around for a long time. Website development's been around for a long time. Okay, organic marketing has been around for a very long time. Email marketing, social media management, social media scheduling, okay? All of these things, they have been around for a long time and they have been proven to be successful in the digital marketing space, okay? So very, very important to think about that. Now we're gonna finish up on topic number 2. I'll give you once again a brief moment. Thank you for the question. I'll grab that for you at the end. Please also take this moment to jot down any notes that you may have, and I'll be right back with you in just a moment's time for topic number 3. Okay, welcome back. So let's get into the third and final topic of today's webinar presentation. The rest is down to you, okay? Topic number 3, let's talk about this. Let's go into a little bit of depth on it as well, why not? So over and above finding a pocket for your new business to take off, you must be mindful in ensuring that you are also building a stable business, okay? So if this is something that we're considering when we're looking to start up a digital agency, we've got to take certain considerations into account. And one of the very, very big ones is, how do we stabilize this business to make sure that it sticks around for the long term? Okay, so there are some basic principles that I can give you. Number 1 is find yourself that pocket, okay? Find a new pocket for your business to take off. Sorry, find a pocket for your new business to take off, not a new pocket necessarily. Do something that already works if you wish. Now, once you've done this, make sure that your service offering is appropriate for whichever target market you select, whichever industry and niche you decide to go into. You've got to consider things like relevance of service. Do they have a desire for it? Do they have a necessity for it? And can they afford to pay for it? Okay. Next thing we've got to think about is client longevity. Can we keep these clients with us for the long term? If so, how do we do that? What's our client care like? What's our customer service like? How much time can we commit to these businesses that we've just decided to take on as clients? Okay, we've got to think about these considerations if we're thinking about the real genuine possibility of running a long-term stable business. It's something that can easily be forgotten, but it's something that should never be forgotten. Now, establish a steady routine, particularly important if you're launching as a part-time business alongside another income. If this is something that you would like to do, figure out how much spare time you have outside of your other commitments. So commitments such as another job, another form of income, another business that you have, family that you take care of, the house that you maintain and manage, whatever that is, make sure that you put time aside to run this new business, but make sure it's a realistic level. Even if it's half an hour a day, make sure that this is being committed on a regular basis, because half an hour a day, even if you just did 5 days a week, it's 2.5 hours a week, that's 10 hours a month, that's 120 hours a year. Now, if I said to you, what can you get done in 120 hours? You'd probably say quite a lot. Well, this time next year, you could have done 120 hours worth of work towards a digital agency, okay? That's 3 full working weeks, okay? So you establish this steady routine, you give yourself the time, and you commit more time if you need to and where you can, okay? But this is particularly important if you're launching as a part-time business alongside another income, which many of us do. Okay, so conduct continual market research to make sure that your business is fitting in the right place. Now, by market research, we've got to make sure that businesses that we think would like our service are still using our service and investing in this area. If they're not, or you start to see changes or something happening in the market, like on the news or on a newsletter, or businesses are going off this particular strategy, be mindful of this. This will be relevant to you whether you think it is directly happening now or not. And finally, take care of every prospect that comes your way, and they will take care of you. Okay. In my personal experience, in the experience of my clients, in the experience of many digital agencies that I've worked with, it always pays off one way or another to take care of every prospect that comes our way, and giving them genuine advice, helping where we can. Even if it doesn't reap a direct reward or benefit for us right now, they might come around later. They might refer somebody they know to you. They could do more than simply become your client. They could be a referral partner, a potential business partner, or somebody who can just offer some valuable advice back. And even if all of that doesn't happen, it's a very, very nice thing to help someone when they need it. Okay, so take care of every prospect that comes your way, and they will take care of you, even if that's just by way of you giving somebody advice or sharing a little bit of your knowledge. Okay, so that brings us to the end of topic number 3 and the end of the presentation. Very shortly, we'll do a recap, and after our recap, we'll dive onto a Q&A session. So I'll give you a moment now, any questions, any notes, and I will dive right back in with you in just a moment's time. Okay, wonderful. So to recap on today's session, number 1, the time is now. There is never a perfect time for doing something. Number 2, there is always something that's going to get in your way or a reason as to why you can't do something. Okay. In addition, this has a double-sided meaning. There's always something happening. There's always something that you can jump on board with. And number 3, it's down to you. You're the one that has to make this happen. Nobody else can do this for you. Okay. So as always, a massive thank you for taking the time to attend this webinar today. It's been an absolute pleasure presenting this to you. If you'd like to talk to a member of our team, you're more than welcome to head over to iob-business.com/talk-to-us. And you can go ahead on here and book a call at a time that suits you. And you'll see a calendar just like this one, where you can select a time to speak to us. Okay, so whilst I go and grab the questions that I have from you today, I'm going to leave the calendar up on screen for you so that you can have a look at that. Okay, you can have a look at the link as well. So the questions that I have from you today, let's have a look. Number 1, what does a good routine look like? Okay, I love this question. So a good routine looks like consistency. All right, this is everything when it comes to routine. So make sure that you establish consistency in everything that you do, even on a personal level. So we get out of bed the same time every day. We have our breakfast the same time every day. We have the same morning routine. It sets us up for the day. It's really, really, really hard to have a good business routine if you don't have a good personal routine. You're going to find it very difficult. And the other thing is we want our brain to be ready and active to get started and going throughout the day. And really, you need a bit of time to do that. So I definitely advise not waking up shortly before your work, shortly before you need to do something, because you need time to, develop for the day, get your brain ready, get your mind active, get those creative juices flowing, and get ready to conquer the day. Okay. So give yourself time, but make sure that on a personal level, you're also essentially regulating your routine and doing the same things, even on the weekends. Okay. Awesome question. I hope that helps. Number 2, could a digital marketing business work in a declining economical climate? Well, it is a great question here for you. Who's captaining the ship over the rough seas? Which sectors peaked during a recently declining economy? Okay. It's a fantastic question, and one that I'm very, very happy to answer, because my answer to this is, I believe personally, it's not about the business, it's about who's running the business. Are we adapting? Are we evolving? Are we overcoming barriers? Are we thinking about our clients? Are we a client-driven business? Are we a customer-driven business? Are we giving our customer base or our client base what they need? Are we providing solutions to problems? We can ask ourselves these questions, but if we're not doing these things, then there's a very good chance that we will start to decline. Okay, regardless of what the economy is doing. Even if the economy is booming, if you're not taking care of your clients, it's unlikely that you're going to have business long term. Okay, we've got to be forecasting, thinking about not what's just happening now, but what's going to happen in the future as well. It's a very, very good way to think, and a wonderful question. So I hope I answered that for you. Any more questions from today? No, doesn't look like it. Okay, wonderful. Well, as always, a massive thank you for taking the time to join us today. It's been an absolute pleasure. Once again, my name is Ben. I'm the resident business coach here at iOB Business, and I very much look forward to speaking to you again on the next iOB Business webinar. Take care and bye for now.